Okay, welcome to today's video. I think it's going to be of interest to a lot of people. Even if you have never been to Panama, have no intentions of ever going to Panama, if you travel at all, this is going to be a great video series for you. We're going to do it in two parts. It's going to be about house sitting. Today's video is going to be all about being a house sitter. Next week's video is all going to be about being a homeowner and hiring a house sitter. So you're definitely going to want to watch both of those videos. Even if you're just a house sitter, it's going to be great to hear about the homeowner perspective of things. And if you're a homeowner, today's video is going to be great because it's good to understand the house sitter perspective of things. So, because you don't want to miss next week's video or any video I ever put out, what you need to do right now, click subscribe. Next to that is that little bell, click notification, because that bell is going to tell you as soon as I post a video, which is normally every Friday, but sometimes we have breaking news in between. Breaking news like changes in immigration law, changes in COVID entry requirements, things that are timely and you need to know now and not wait until the following Friday. So make sure you click the notify. And then on top of that, in the video description below, there is a link to the I Go Panama Facebook group. As of right now, we have over 4,000 people in that group. And they come from a wide range of backgrounds. There are expats that have lived here for years and years and years and have great advice. There's expats that are in the process of moving right now and have great advice and are asking great questions. There are tourists that are coming to Panama and have questions about where to go and what to see, all of those things. Anything Panama, we are discussing in that group, and we have an awesome group of people. I moderate it very strongly. We do not allow all that snark and backbiting and arguments and pseudo debates about COVID vaccines and all that mess in the group. We can talk about any topic in that group, but it's going to be done in a respectful, adult manner. And so if you're interested in that kind of discussion, serious educational stuff about Panama, I invite you to come on over to I Go Panama Facebook group and join us there. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So, today's video is going to be all about the house sitter side of a house sit. And why am I even qualified to do these videos? Well, I've been on both sides of the house sitting coin. I started out as a homeowner hiring house sitters, and then I have continued that for the last 7 years. And then I started house sitting internationally and became a professional international house sitter. And I have sat in some amazing locations. I'll list just a few. Iceland, downtown Reykjavik, walking distance to everything, in one of the most expensive countries you can be in. Switzerland, same thing, gorgeous apartment with a cat, great view, train right to Lucerne, beautiful. France, an apartment in Paris with a cat, an apartment in Antibes on the French Riviera with a ferret, interestingly enough. Let's see, Malaysia, in a gorgeous condo in downtown Kuala Lumpur where I could walk to Petronas Towers. In South Africa, where I literally had a mansion, people, I mean a mansion to myself, overlooking Simon's Bay, just outside of Cape Town, where I could walk down the hill and go see penguins and baboons and all kinds of things. That's just a few of my house sits. It's been an amazing journey, and it's one that you can take as well. I'm going to tell you how in this video. All right, so how did I get started in house sitting? Well, actually what happened was I had hired a house sitter. I was coming to Panama for the very first time ever with Brian, so this is like 7 years ago. And we were coming here. She was going to sit our house downtown while we were in Panama. She and I bonded over our mutual love of Central America. She had spent a lot of time in Belize house sitting, and Belize was one of my first loves. And so while we were in Bastimentos, actually, one of the islands here in Bocas del Toro, she sent me a message and said, "Hey, Mary, I have a friend that needs a house sitter in Costa Rica this summer for 2 months. I know you're a teacher, you have summers off. Are you interested?" Heck yeah, sign me up. So I contacted the homeowner, had a discussion with her. She took a chance on me, and that was in March because we were in Panama for spring break. So March, April, and by that summer, I was on my very first house sit in Ojachal, Costa Rica, South Pacific side, and with a cat named Sienna, a pool, a beautiful house, and a car so I could explore. All of that for free. All I had to do was get myself to Costa Rica and buy the food that I was going to cook and put gas in the car. Not a bad gig if you can get it, and you can get it. So that really started my love of house sitting and how I saw, wow, I'm going to be able to travel not just for like a week somewhere, I'm going to be able to travel long term to places. Because let's face it, what is your most expensive travel expenditure that you have? It's not airfare, even if you're going all the way around the world. That's a one-shot deal. If you're going long term, it's lodging and it's food. Because lodging is something you have to pay for every single night, and food is something you have to pay for 3 times a day. So if you have a free place to stay and you have a kitchen where instead of going out to restaurants constantly, you're able to buy food at the local stores and cook for yourself, you save, I mean, I cannot even tell you how many literally tens of thousands of dollars I have saved over the years. Like, seriously, serious money. Okay, so how do you go about getting started house sitting? I mean, mine was kind of a fluke. I fell into it, but you want to get started now. What do you need to do? All right, I do all of my house sits now through a website called TrustedHousesitters.com. I will link it below. In fact, I'm going to link it below with a discount code so you can get 25% off your membership. So that's below, and we'll talk about pricing here in a minute. But everything I do, I go through that. And I started house sitting by not like saying, I want to go to, I don't know, Zimbabwe, and then looking for sits just in Zimbabwe. I really started by saying, okay, here are my breaks that I have. Here are the dates that I have. I'm just going to put those dates in for anywhere in the world and see what pops up. And that's how I ended up in all these amazing countries all over the world staying for free. Now, what I highly recommend, because when I started 7 years ago, the house sitting game was not quite as competitive as it is now. A lot of people have caught on to this idea, and so there's a lot more competition out there. So you really have to set yourself apart. And the way that I recommend you do that is by doing local house sits as often as you can. For example, we lived in Los Angeles. So that's a great place to do local house sits because people are constantly going out of town for the weekend or for a week or whatever. Very short-term things, close to my house. And every time one of those local sits would pop up, I was applying and I was getting those. And so what that did was build my reviews. So then I had amazing 5-star reviews and a lot of them. And then what that would do when I was applying internationally is show the homeowners internationally that I'm someone who's responsible, I'm someone who other homeowners have had in their home, and that they are very pleased with what I provide. So that is really where I recommend you start. Go local, and I would stick to one platform. Look, there's a lot of house sitting platforms out there, and you know me, I research. Trusted House Sitters is the best. I've used 3 others. Trusted House Sitters is the best, hands down. Okay? There's also Facebook groups, and I've used those, and I used one recently, and I was not particularly thrilled. In fact, I think I'm going to quit using the Facebook groups. It's too much of a mishmash of people just wanting a vacation rather than taking house sitting seriously. So that's where we're going to get into the next part of this video, which is taking house sitting seriously. Okay, so what is going to make you a great house sitter? Look, I do not want you thinking that house sitting is just for you to get a free vacation. That is absolutely not what house sitting is. House sitting is you having a responsibility to a homeowner. And that is first and foremost, and that is the priority. Not your tour schedule or going to see the pyramids or, you know, whatever it is that you want to do while you're in that place. Now, does it afford you the opportunity to do all of those touristy things? Absolutely. But all of that has to come second to the homeowner's home and pets. And so this is what I will tell you. The vast majority of house sits involve dogs. I love dogs. I have dogs. I do not house sit dogs internationally. Locally, that's not a problem because I live there and I don't need to go do anything all day long. But if you take an international house sit and you take a sit that only has cats, cats don't need to be walked 3 times a day. Cats don't need to be played with constantly. Cats kind of prefer to hang to themselves and do their own thing. They're a lot more independent. So that's why when I'm sitting internationally, I only choose sits with cats, not dogs, because that allows me to be able to go out and kind of spend my days exploring the city. Then I can come back and love on the kitty and have that little pet snuggle time and all of that kind of stuff without having to worry about the much more intense needs that dogs have. So, because if you're on a dog sit, your chances are your time is going to be a lot more limited. So keep that in mind. I mean, you might be a big dog lover and all you want to do is stay kind of in the little general area and walk a dog around. Go for it. But if you really want to explore it, you need to kind of take on those kind of lower key pets that don't require so much time and attention from you. Okay? All right, so that's the first part. Always put the homeowner's pets first. The second thing, when you're applying for a sit, I probably should have started with that. When you're applying for a house sit, you get one shot, uno, to make your impression. And you don't even get to do it face to face. You're going to be doing it through email. So you better stand out from the crowd, because if it's a really good house sit in a really good location, you could have 20, 30, 40 applicants for that one sit. So what is going to make you stand out from all of them? Now, as a homeowner, I get emails sometimes from people wanting to apply for the sits that I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? This pathetic introduction. Hi, I want to do your house sit. And that's it? It's like, seriously? No. Here's what you need to do. You really need to take time with that introduction letter. You need to address all of the homeowners' information that they put in their profile. Do they have an animal that needs medication? Tell them about your experience giving animals medication. And call their pets by name. They'll put their pet's name in the ad. Don't just say your dog, your cat. Personalize it. Say, hey, I can't wait to take care of Selva and play with her and go do ball and give her insulin meds or whatever it might be that the homeowner says their dog might like to do, okay, or needs. Important. If the homeowner says things like, my dog needs to be walked on long walks every day, state how you're up for that, because they're telling you what they need. You need to then come back and tell them how you are going to be the one that can do all of those things. I don't think you can have an introduction letter that's too long. I'll be honest with you. I mean, me as a homeowner, I want as much information from that person as possible so I can make an educated decision out of all of the applicants. So once you create that really good introduction letter, you've personalized it, you've called them by their name, you've called their pets by their pet's name, you've stated how responsible you are, how professional you are. If you have been a homeowner, I highly recommend that you put that in there. And I would also put a line in there about how you consider house sitting to be a job. Because guys, that's what it is. It's a job. You are applying for a job. The job is to take care of the pets, take care of the house. And look at it like that. Like I said, do not go in that email. Oh, and I've seen this too. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to come to Los Angeles. I have always wanted to see Hollywood, and I want to go to Universal Studios and Disney, blah, blah. You know what? I'm not your travel agent. I don't want to hear it. All I want to know is, are you taking care of my pets in house? Okay? This is about the homeowner. This is not about you. Okay? All right. So get that letter out there, and then here's kind of where the touchy thing happens, especially on Trusted House Sitters. You can see when the homeowner reads your message, and a lot of times homeowners will not respond back. It's just the way it is. I recommend one follow-up about 3 days after they've read it, if the sit is still available. saying, hey, I am still really interested in taking care of Selva and your home while you're gone on vacation. Do you know when you're going to be making a decision? And do you have any questions for me? Something like that. Short. This is not the time for another, War and Peace. This is short and only one. Otherwise, you're bugging them and driving them crazy. And if they don't respond to you and they fill the sit, the end. The other thing I don't want you to ever do is send a homeowner an email saying, oh, gee, I love your house, I love your pets, but I'm not available on those dates, but will you keep me in mind? No, I won't. I won't. I'm not going to keep you in mind for a year from now, okay? If the sit comes up again, apply. Other than that, don't waste a homeowner's time unless you're actually applying for the sit, okay? All right, other things that I recommend as a house sitter. So let's say you don't get the sit. Well, keep trying. Don't get discouraged. Like I said, keep doing those local sits and build up your reviews. Eventually, you're going to get one. I promise you. And from there, it just builds. You just have to be patient. And remember, there's a lot of competition. But you do get your sit. Now what? Here's what. You are committed. House sitting is not a, oh, wow, I might maybe like to go to Ireland on, May 3rd to 18th. No. House sitting is, I am going to Ireland May 3rd to 18th to fulfill the commitment to this homeowner that I just made. If you are one of those people who cannot keep a commitment and are wishy-washy on your travel dates and don't really know what you want, don't even apply. You put a homeowner in a very bad position if you cancel on them. It looks very bad on you. And whenever a house sitter does that to me, I immediately report it to Trusted House Sitters, and they keep a record of that. And if that happens too many times, they will kick you off the platform. All right? Be mature, be responsible, be committed. Think of it as a job. Okay? That said, things happen. Things come up. You might break your leg. Your mom might die. Whatever happens, things can happen. So when it's something major, all parties are generally understandable about that. But only back out of a sit if it is something massively major. I do recommend that you have travel insurance because there's always a chance that the homeowner could back out. This happened to me in Ireland. I had an entire summer schedule of several countries in Europe planned. Ireland was one of them, a house sit. I had the specific dates. I had my flights in, I had my flights out, and then she flaked on me. So I was able to spin it around and fix it, and it didn't end up being a problem for me, but I'm a lot more flexible than some people. If something like that would totally throw off your entire life, travel insurance, highly recommended. How could I forget this, house sitters? When you leave that house, you better leave that house cleaner than you found it. I'm not even kidding you. Do not go in and trash somebody's house and leave it for them to clean up. That just happened with my neighbors. I helped them find house sitters. And they had a very last minute kind of situation where we had to find somebody fast. And I went to Facebook, which I don't know. I think I'm done with Facebook. And got someone, and they left their house a mess. My neighbors came back from France after a very stressful trip to a mess. Don't do that to homeowners. You leave that house cleaner than what you left it every single time. Some house sitters like to leave like a little meal. Like we had a great house sit in Los Angeles last summer, and we made a nice lasagna dinner for the family because they were coming back from France. We made a nice lasagna dinner for them, so they had something to eat when they got back from such a long plane ride. Don't have to do it. It's just a nice touch, especially if you're wanting good reviews and maybe to be invited back at some point, because most homeowners leave often. And if you really like a place and they really like you, you might have the chance to come back again. All right, so how much is this going to cost you? Look, airfare and food and all your touristy things and all that, I can't tell you that. But I can tell you how much Trusted House Sitters is going to cost you. If you're coming in just as a house sitter, the basic plan is $129 a year. People, I'm talking, that's nothing. That's like $10 a month. And can I tell you how much money I have saved? I mean, like I said, tens of thousands of dollars. So over the course of 7 years, like on my account, because I do both homeowner and house sitter, over 7 years, maybe I've spent like $900 or something. My goodness, that's nothing compared to what I've gotten back in return. Nothing. Piddly. So, here's what's even better. Shh! Stop it. Okay, dogs. Okay, I'm about to hire a house sitter for you things. Okay, I'm back. All right, so Selva, she's a mess. Okay, so where was I before Selva so rudely interrupted me?
Value.
Yes, value. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, when you're house sitting, you're getting a ton of value in return. Below, I actually have a code that's going to give you 25% off of that $129 a year. So you're actually getting it for less than $100 a year. If you book one house sit in the entire year for like one night, you've already paid. It's already paid for itself. So don't hesitate to do it. You can do this if you're committed to doing it, right? All right. So now let me tell you about the house sit that's coming up. My neighbor is going to France, and they're leaving from like March 4th to like May 8th. So like 2 months. Their home is spectacular. Like, I would take that sit if I didn't have to live over here. I mean, their home is gorgeous. It's ocean view, ocean front, immaculate, beautiful gardens, a vegetable garden, and fruit trees to die for. I mean, you're going to be able to eat so much cool stuff off this property, you won't believe it. A swimming pool, a home gym, 2 Rottweilers and a boxer to keep you company, and a couple of cats that won't keep you much company, but they're there. All of that, you can stay here in Bocas del Toro, just right down the road from me for 2 months for free. That's right, for free. The casita that you would be staying in is just absolutely beautiful. They recently built it. It has this gorgeous outdoor kitchen that they just finished, a bedroom, a bathroom, a living room, a porch that runs across the front of it with hammocks overlooking the pool and the gardens and the Caribbean Sea. Please, people, if you're interested in that, you need to join Trusted House Sitters immediately, because that listing is going up like today. All right? And we're going to be going through applicants and figuring out who to get. So if you apply, mention I Go Panama, we're going to give you an extra look. All right? Okay, so if you want to join Trusted House Sitters, the link is below. It's going to save you 25%. I think I can link directly to our neighbor's listing as well. So you can immediately just see that entire listing before you even pay if you're interested in that one. So I'll link that below. Of course, our I Go Panama Facebook group will be linked below as well. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit notify. Next week, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about all of this from the homeowners side of things. All right, so thanks for joining me and have a great Friday. See you next week.